In the year 1987, a super video game called Mega Man was created. Capcom created Mega Man to satisfy the desires of gamers for something fresh and new. Featuring solid non-linear platforming, tight controls, and some great bosses, it soon became a sleeper hit. But little did they know it was just the beginning of a legacy that has lasted 25 years, spanning many games, several spin-offs, cartoons, comics, and of course, countless fans. And to celebrate Mega Man's 25th anniversary, I hereby welcome you to my biggest countdown ever. One of the defining features of a Mega Man game are the Robot Masters, and I'm counting down not 10, not 15, not even 25, but my 50 favorite of these bosses. And I'm taking into account their design, their concept, level, fight, and weapons, and I'm giving every game a shot here, from the NES to the current generation and everything in between. And I'm not celebrating alone here. This massive list will also feature special guest segments done by people who auditioned to be a part of the celebration. By the way, I'm not including Proto Man, Bass, or Mega Man himself on this list because those are main characters. But enough rambling, let the party begin! Mega Man 3's Robot Masters run the gamut from bad, to good, to downright awesome. The first robot on this massive list enters the good category. Meet Snake Man, the representative of all things that slither. The first thing you'll notice about Snake Man is his design. Like most Robot Masters, Snake Man's design is simple, yet very fitting, with his face appearing in the snake's mouth. Next, his stage. They really played up the theme here. Not only are there lots of snake heads big and small throughout, but even the floors and walls are made out of snakes. You know, I'm kind of disappointed. Why weren't the ladders made out of snakes too? I mean, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. And the one section that does feel out of place is the sky section with all those cloud platforms. As for the fight, Snake Man will run and jump around the room and occasionally launch his snakes. The challenge here comes from the layout of the arena, because it can sometimes be hard to find the right place to jump over him. Once you beat him, you get the Search Snake, which is a snake-shaped projectile which can crawl up walls. I personally find it a bit awkward, but it does have its uses. Overall, with a cool design and stage, Snake Man manages to be one of Mega Man 3's better bosses. The way I see it, Mega Man 7 gets a lot of undeserved hate. True, it was responsible for one of the worst Robot Masters ever, and one of the most frustrating final bosses I've ever faced, but it does have some good Robot Masters. Turbo Man is one of them. First thing I like about him is his design. According to the Robot Master Field Guide, Turbo Man was built from parts of Wily's old car. As such, he's able to transform into a car at will. Yeah, he's built for speed. His stage is cool too, taking place in a garage with enemies like traffic cones, bots that shoot tires, and a mini-boss that's a friggin' truck. And then there's the flame jets that can do some serious damage. In fact, some of them are one-hit kills. During the fight, he'll try to ram into you in vehicle form and assault you with his Scorch Wheel, which will cause continuous damage if it hits. His timing varies in car mode, so you need to time your jumps carefully or you will get sent into the wall. As for his weapon, the Scorch Wheel sends a ring of fireballs at enemies. It can be effective, but it is a bit of a slow starter. Still, Turbo Man is one well-oiled machine, but one that the Carzars would have a field day with.
Grenade Man is pretty messed up. I'm not kidding, this guy makes the soldier from Team Fortress 2 look tame. His stage has a lot of explosions that are shot sensitive, so make sure you don't go crazy like the guy himself. The stage also has a bunch of elements such as blocks and timers that add a few puzzle elements into there, which is nice. As for his weapon, the Flash Bomb, it's a grenade. Do I really need to explain it? Now onto the man himself. Now, I've said it a lot, you guys know it. This guy's a little loco in the head. I mean, that's to be expected from a guy that uses explosions, but he takes this way too far. Wanna know why? He gets turned on by getting hit with his own explosion. That's no good! Rated E for everyone?
number 47, we have the first boss on the list from Mega Man 5, Crystal Man. This Robot Master was created from raw crystals mined by Wily to create artificial crystals. Why, you may ask? Simple.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 I got the money, 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 money.
Anyway, his stage is one of the prettiest in the NES games. Nearly everything is made out of crystal. The ground, the spikes, hell, even the ladders. There are even pipes which drop crystals, and even Crystal Joes. Hell, even the music lends itself to the theme, as it well should. This can be a pretty tricky stage, especially if you're trying to get the beat letter here. The fight itself is pretty fun. Crystal Man's main weapon launches 4 crystals that rebound off the walls in order to hit you, and he'll occasionally attack you with energy shots as well. However, he'll always attack mid-jump, so be wary of that. Once you beat him, you'll get the Crystal Eye, a large crystal that splits into 3 upon hitting a wall, and these smaller crystals can rebound off surfaces as well. Cool motif, good fight, and a good weapon make Crystal Man one of Mega Man 5's better Robot Masters. And did I mention he has an interest in fortune-telling? Heh, screw Miss Cleo, give me Crystal Man's number! On second thought, let's go to number 46. Given the scope of this list, it stands to reason that I'm a Mega Man connoisseur. With that, it's history time! By and large, the Game Boy games were remixes of the NES games, 4 bosses from one and 4 from the next. But there was a unique boss in each one. The first of these Mega Man killers was Anchor. Anchor first appeared in Dr. Wily's Revenge after a challenging Wily stage with fans, spikes, electricity, and those annoying screws. But he puts up a really good fight. His main weapon is the Mirror Buster, which will gather up any energy shot fired at him and channel it into a counterattack with varying power. The tricky part is reacting to his approach. When you actually get his weapon, it proves to be very situational. It only works when struck by a projectile. As for his design, it's pretty cool, derived from Japanese sensibilities. His name is actually derived from enka, a genre of Japanese music. I love these kinds of references. So yeah, this is a very unique boss, and you don't even need a Game Boy to fight him. You can just get the Time Attack DLC stages in Mega Man 10. Now this is the kind of DLC I can stand for, not that crap that's still on the disc!
Four entries after that one game a lot of people consider the best, we have one of the greatest Robot Masters in the Mega Man series, Yamato Man. This symbol of Japanese culture inhabits the impregnable fortress area in Mega Man 6 and can be considered a formidable opponent to Mega Man, especially if you do not have his weakness weapon, the S-Tomahawk. Before you fight him, however, you must head through his well-designed stage. This stage features multiple paths, a couple of tough enemies, and some pretty pumping music. After all that, you finally reach the lair of Yamato Man. Wielding a spear and somehow shooting spearheads out of it, Yamato Man is one powerful opponent. Unless that is, you have the S-Tomahawk. Defeating Yamato Man grants you the Y-Spear, the weakness of Nightman, and a useful weapon overall. In conclusion, I consider Yamato Man to be one of the better Robot Masters around, and at least the second or third best in Mega Man 6.
If there's one word to sum up Skullman for Mega Man 4, it's badass. Also bones. Lots and lots of bones. Anyway, Skullman is just freaking awesome. I mean, the dude has a picture of a skull on his helmet, which is also shaped like a skull. That's amazing. But Skullman has more going for him than just a badass design, mind you. His stage is pretty awesome too. It's not like most other stages in Mega Man, as on multiple occasions throughout it, there are multiple paths to go on. This wasn't something we had really seen in Mega Man before, which is something I really admire. The stage is also a joy to play through, being challenging, but still remaining fair and fun. The design is fantastic, the bones everywhere, the great music, and the overall tone of the level, I love it! The fight with Skullman is awesome as well. Throughout the battle, it maintains the balanced level of challenge, with his pattern not being too erratic, but not too predictable either. And for some reason, I always liked his weakness. His weakness is the dust crusher. You know, like dusting off fossils. Pure genius. And yeah, his weapon kinda sucks, but at least it's a decent barrier weapon and isn't completely useless. So, overall, Skullman is just plain awesome. Although, you gotta wonder where all those bones came from. I mean, the entire stage is made of bones, the enemies are made of skulls, and throw bones. Skullman has a skull on his head and summons little skulls as shields, and Mega Man also uses skulls. Oh God! Oh God! He ripped the bones. He decapitated. He used them as shields. And Mega Man uses. Oh God! Oh God! He killed all those people. And what if I'm next? Run! Run for your lives! Skullman's coming! He's coming!
This next boss comes from the Wily Wars. Most people don't know about this game because it was only released in America through the ill-fated Sega Channel. Aside from enhanced ports of the first 3 games, there was an original minigame called the Wily Tower, which featured the 3 bosses known as the Genesis Unit. The first of these bosses on this list is Mega Water S. While he is admittedly the least impressive of the 3, he still holds up among Robot Masters from other games in the series. First, let's talk concept. His design is based on that of a kappa from Japanese mythology, and his name is based on Sha Wu Jing, the water sprite from the Chinese novel Journey to the West. I'll admit, his stage is annoying, combining 3 of the most hated cliches in the series: water physics, pits, and spikes. However, his fight makes up for it, being the only amphibious fight I can recall. He'll attack you from a platform above the water, attacking you with harpoons, pushing you away with a stream of water, and blocking your attacks with a water shield. It was designed for you to fight on the platform, but it turns out to be much easier to attack from the water below. Sadly, like the other members of the Genesis unit, you don't get a weapon from him. But that doesn't really matter since you can use any weapons you want in the Wily Tower. Overall, Mega Water S has a great design and a great cultural reference. Just not a great stage. Remember when I said that by and large the Game Boy games were remixes? Well, there is an exception. The 5th Game Boy game, aside from being one of my favorite games on Nintendo's reliable gray brick, was very different. We had the Mega Arm instead of the standard Buster, we got a new sidekick named Tango, and we got a whole new set of bosses called the Star Droids. And at number 42 we have the first of these planetary bosses, Mercury. Mercury's stage combines traps like conveyor belts, falling blocks, and crushing pillars. Or rather, a crushing floor. Not too hard, but still an enjoyable stage. As for the fight, it's pretty good too. His main projectile is something to watch out for. Not only will it damage you, but it will steal your items if it hits you. Its other means of attack consists of splitting into fragments of liquid metal and reforming on the other side. Oh god, bad memories. At least this isn't frustrating. When you beat him, you get the very useful Grab Buster, that not only damages enemies, but gives you health power-ups. As far as his design goes, it really fits. For some odd reason, something about it just screams alien. Altogether, Mercury proves to be a solid boss, but he's not alone in representing this Game Boy gem. When I talked about the memories I had with Mega Man 2, that was pretty much nostalgia talking. In truth, that game is kind of overrated. It's not bad, but even I can't ignore that it has some glaring flaws. The dreaded trio of Heatman, Airman, and Woodman, and the final boss were just 2 examples. Crashman, on the other hand, is one of the game's better bosses. First, let's take a look at his design. 2 words. Drill arms. That is one slick design. His stage is okay for the most part. It's vertically oriented with lots of ladders, and its main gimmick is these platforms that run on a track while tellies close in on you. The later ladders feature those pippies that drop eggs that make you thankful that you have those uber-broken saw blades of doom. When you finally get to Crashman, you're treated to one fast-paced fight, in which Crashman will jump around and pepper the ground with his bombs. You should be fine if you keep moving. and the Crash Bomber is a godsend. It sticks to walls and can break certain barricades, and is absolutely required to beat that goddamn blue beam trap in Wily Castle 4. Yet another reason that Mega Man 2 is not the best game in the series. Hey, if you're surprised now, just wait until the later parts of this list. Kicking off Part 2, we have a robot from Mega Man 5, based on a mode of transportation, no less. And if Charged Man came to mind, then you're so Zeta slow. I'm talking about Gyro Man. His design is based on that of a helicopter, which I find cool. As you would expect, his stage takes place in the sky, featuring an assortment of airborne enemies. There are a couple of tricky parts, like the area with the spiky droppers and the falling platforms, and the elevator area with the spikes. The fight, however, is relatively easy. He'll attack you with his gyro cutter either on the ground or from the sky. When he does go airborne, you'll need to keep moving or he'll get the drop on you. Quite literally. His gyro attack is a cool weapon. It's a bladed propeller which you can send up or down at will. It's much better than that charge kick, which ironically looks like it would fit in Smash. Which reminds me. Bottom line, for his stage, his design, and his weapon, Gyro Man definitely deserves his props. And cue facepalm! I'll be honest with you. I did not expect Mega Man and Bass to be released in America. The Super Famicom original was first released in 1998 when the Super NES was more or less dead in America. But I'm glad we got it on Game Boy Advance. It gave us Bass as a playable character, an extensive database, and several neat robot masters. The first of these on the list is Ground Man. This is one tough-looking robot. Let's start there, with his design. Just take a look at those 8 drills on his body and tell me he doesn't look intimidating. I like that. His stage takes place in an underground ruin, which features quicksand, giant worms, a mini-boss that has way more health than it should, spinning platforms, an alternate path, and these things. As for the fight, Groundman will attack you by charging at you in his tank form, burrowing into the ground, attacking you from above with a massive drill, and firing a spread drill array. Once you beat him, you get the spread drill, which can be split twice to cover more area. It's a pretty useful weapon, befitting this tank of a robot master. Overall, Groundman makes it on here with a cool design and weapon, and lands at the number 39 spot with little trouble at all.
From the people who brought you Gemini Man, I have a new product for you people. Enter Mega Man 1's Gutsman. He is our most powerful robot yet. He lives in a mine. He has ladders that can kill you. He has meteors. And the best part, the music. Oh my god, this music is awesome. And his design makes him look like a miner. Yeah! The fight with him is also very sweet. He comes down to like, fuck you player, you're fighting me now. I'm hardcore. And his stage is all hard as all hell. Hard like his robot body. And his weapon, you are invincible. You can chuck stuff. You can blow off any obstacle in the way. You are Superman. Gutsman! Get him today, talking about it just makes me so excited! Oh my god! You know something, you should buy him! Get him today! Gutsman!
Brought to you by the QuartrGuy Top 50 World Masters List.
At number 37, we have the second member of the Genesis unit, Hyperstorm H. The H in this guy's name stands for Hakai, as in Shohakai, which is the Japanese reading of Jubaji, another character from Journey to the West. This novel happens to be the running theme of the Genesis unit. His stage once again takes place at a dig site and incorporates several obstacles from Mega Man 3. The dropping footholds from Shadow Man stage, the spinning conveyor belts from the Spark Man level, the dropping needles from Needle Man stage. Yeah, it's quite the mixed bag. I like it. As for the fight itself, yeah, you are seeing this right, he has 2 health bars. And this guy is so strong that he can pull you in and push you away with his breath. On top of that, he's so heavy that he brings down Meteors every time he jumps. But being designed for sheer power, he's kinda dumb. As in, he won't get out of the way of a bomb. Still, Hyperstorm H is a cool boss. Don't call him a pig, though.
They call me Mr. Pig!
A Robot Master so nice you face him twice, Gemini Man is quite the narcissist. Of course, given the fact that he can generate clones of himself, and that he looks as though he's made out of raw crystals, that's completely understandable. His stage starts out on what looks like an alien world. As you shoot your way through penguins and satellites, you eventually come to a hatch that Proto Man blows open, revealing the way into a psychedelic cavern where you deal with space tadpoles, giant penguins, dragonflies, and torpedo-shooting fish. Yeah, I don't know. When you finally get to Gemini Man, he'll start by creating a clone of himself and begin running and jumping in a circle around the room, only shooting when you shoot. The clone breaks at half health, at which point he'll start to shoot his Gemini laser. It's a fun and a challenging fight. The Gemini laser itself is kind of slow, but it does have the advantage of bouncing off the walls. But I have to wonder, what does it have to do with the constellation? Probably as much as everything else about his stage. Still, this is one cool Robot Master. Or masters, depending on how you look at it. You are a man who is a horse who is a robot, making you Man-Horse Man-Bot. So yeah, Centaur Man gets a bit of a bad rap, but personally, I disagree with the haters. I mean, how can you go wrong with a robot based on Greek mythology? As for his stage, well, it's the requisite water level. Most people think this doesn't make sense, but I have to disagree. Centaur Man represents Greece in this game, which is a coastal nation. But I have another theory. His stage is called the Ancient City, which is most likely the sunken city of Atlantis. But hey, that's just a theory. A game! Anyway, after dealing with pelicans, spikes, cloud subs, and upside-down water, you fight Centaur Man himself. He attacks by freezing you with his Centaur Flash, firing a shot that splits apart when it hits the wall, and teleporting around the room. Not too bad, but it is kind of easy. His Centaur Flash is a decent weapon, and while it deals damage to surrounding enemies, I still prefer the Centaur Arrow you get in Mega Man 2 The Power Fighters. Still, Centaur Man's not bad for a half-man, half-horse.
Of course!
Shut up, Bison! Saturn was established in 1985 as a subsidiary of General Motors and, wait, that was the Saturn Car Company. Whoops, we want the Star Droid. Okay, of all the Star Droids, Saturn is the only one that actually resembles the planet he's based on. I mean, he has the ring and everything, so he definitely has a good design going for him. So, what do I think of his stage? Well, it's, for lack of a better term, weird. The primary features of this level are areas that either double the gravity, making your jumps lower, or cut it in half, which makes your jumps higher. On top of that, there are enemies which can slow you down until they either die or leave the screen. As for the fight itself, Saturn's ring is his main method of attack. He'll either toss it to the other side of the room and slide across, or he'll use it to create a black hole to draw you in. Yikes. He also has the power to Zawarudo your ass, taking the opportunity to fire a circle of shots. When you defeat him, you get the black hole, which sucks in some enemies and creates energy balls to pick off the rest. That is awesome. So yeah, Saturn's got a strange design and stage, but hey, for me, strange is good. Too bad the brand got shut down.
One thing that I love the most about Mega Man and Bass is that every Robot Master is memorable. So memorable that I have a hard time deciding which is my favorite. One thing's for sure, Capcom definitely hit it on the right path with Pirate Man. Pirate Man is a fearless, money-loving Robot Master that's also an enemy of Dive Man's. And even though he's got one of the easiest stages in Mega Man and Bass, he makes up for it quite a bit by making a water level pretty enjoyable. The tiles are reused from Aquaman's stage from Mega Man 8, as are the enemies, but it also features the bubble generators from Tengu Man's stage in Mega Man 8. His design is pretty similar to your stereotypical pirate captain, though I can't be the only one wondering why his sprite and artwork have his patch on his left eye, but his mugshot has it on his right. It's also worth mentioning that he has not one, but 2 hooks for a hand. As for the fight with him, if you don't get his pattern down, Pirate Man can quickly become one of the toughest Robot Masters in the game. Basically, Pirate Man stands on the right side for the majority of the battle, shooting a few remote mines at you, which also have a slight homing effect. And it's easy to forget about the range they have. Pirate Man will also seal himself inside of a bubble, not only to prevent you from damaging him, but also as a method of attack. If you don't burst it quick enough, it'll repeatedly charge across the battlefield. It's not too bad to dodge as Mega Man if you have good enough timing, but it can be a nightmare for Bass. And not only do you have to deal with that, but also the fact that the water level slowly decreases as the battle goes on. And if it's low enough, dodging Pirate Man's attacks becomes more of a pain. But when the water level is low enough, Pirate Man will raise it again, an opportune time to get a few free hits in. But by far, the best part about Pirate Man is the weapon you obtain from beating him, the remote mine. How it works is this. By pressing B, Mega Man or Bass will fire a remote mine, and using the up and down buttons on the control pad, you can maneuver it up and down until it sticks to a wall or an enemy where pressing B again detonates it. Besides, what could be better than a robot pirate?
You want a piece of gunning? Come and get it!
I regret nothing!
Countdowns on motorcycles!
Okay, now that that joke's out of the way, let's talk about Nitro Man from Mega Man 10. This guy is definitely built for the road. Like Turbo Man, his design is based off a vehicle, except I happen to like Nitro Man's design better. Since motorcycles are freaking awesome, Nitro Man's stage takes place on a highway with some really kickin' music. You got enemies like helicopter meteors, vehicles with copter cannons on them, these charging shield enemies, and these areas with trucks that you have to jump on. Don't you dare say anything! So, after Nitro Man makes his stylish entrance, he'll come at you in his motorcycle form and throw his wheel cutters either from the ground or after riding up the wall. This fight is easy with the Chill Spike, but try doing it with the Buster. The wheel cutter is a cool weapon. It's sort of like a cross between the Metal Blade and the Search Snake, plus it lets you zip up walls faster than Knuckles. Sweet! With credentials like that, Nitro Man earns his place on the list, wheels down.
If there's one thing I love just as much as I love Knights, it's rock music. Now you might be asking me, Z, what does this have to do with Top 50 Robot Masters? One of my favorite Robot Masters is named after rock. Punk rock, to be exact. Punk is the second Mega Man killer created by Dr. Wily to destroy Mega Man. He attacks using Screw Crusher, which he turns into a spike ball and charges at you. He's very tough due to how much damage he can deal, and none of the weapons in Mega Man 3 besides the Mega Buster work on him. He also appears in Mega Man 10 as a DLC. Sweet! And his theme is so catchy you could headbang to it. Kaiji Inafune has stated that he especially likes Punk, so much that he included him in Mega Man Battle Network series, and insisted on redesigning him personally. Shows how much he loves punk rock.
Astro Man is one of the more unique robot masters in Mega Man base. Oh wait, no he isn't, he's from Mega Man 8 also, you twit! Yes, I know, but I found the Mega Man base version of his stage to be better. His stage seems to be a space city or utopia. Think Moonbase Alpha, guys. And the background is pretty cool for a SNES GBA game capabilities. Another pretty cool mechanic of the stage is this silhouette room where enemies pop out and their shadows are reflected on the background before. And also, blocks. Block buttons, rising block physics, and everyone's favorite, disappearing blocks. Yay! Yeah, this game is without a doubt the hardest in the classic series. Now on to Astro Man himself. First off, his design. All I have to say here is balls with arms. Him and Cloudman could get along. Get it? Cloudman rides a ball. Okay, never mind. This joke is flawed. I'm not sure if anyone's ever noticed this though, but Astro Man's eyes are soul piercing and they never blink. Now for his battle. Since I've never played Mega Man base up to this point, like I said, the game is difficult. Astro Man's strategy is to teleport around the room and spawn enemies to jump out of the ground. He also throws energy balls at you and protects himself with his 2 balls. The jokes are writing themselves at this point, man. His weapon is actually reminiscent of Split Mushroom's weapon from Mega Man X4, and it creates a clone of Mega Man or base that can fire on its own to kill enemies. It's used for a lot of puzzles, and is even required to get into the game's final level. Astro Man is a unique, creative, and interesting robot master from Mega Man base, or Mega Man 8, like I said, and is one of the best out there. Like space.
Ah, Mega Man 9. I love this game so much. Its return to the series' roots was the perfect nostalgia trip for me. And its robot masters were the most balanced in the series in my opinion. So much so that the first representative of this game on the list lands at number 29. Say hello to Hornet Man. There's just a lot that I like about this guy. He's actually pretty well designed, having a stinger on his head and a torso shaped like a honeycomb. Considering he was designed to watch over a flower-themed park, his stage is full of flowers. I mean, we have pots shooting flowers that home in on you, living scissors, unrolling platforms, and an admittedly annoying mini-boss. As for the fight, Hornet Man follows a very specific pattern. Fly up, launch 3 Hornets that home in on you, drop down, run to the other side, rinse and repeat. This is why the Magma Bazooka was made. When you beat him, you get the incredibly useful Hornet Chaser. Not only does it home in on enemies, but it can also be used to retrieve items that are out of reach. Now here's something interesting. Hornet Man was actually going to be the first female Robot Master, and was originally named Honey Woman. However, another Robot Master got the honor. Still, I'd say Hornet Man came out smelling like a rose.
Some Robot Masters have hard stages, while others have challenging boss fights. Quickman from Mega Man 2 has both, but let's take this one step at a time. First, his design. After some research, I learned that Dr. Wily made Quickman by using parts of Electman, and the material he is made out of is lightweight, which allows him to move incredibly fast. Next, there's his stage. By now, every Mega Man fan should know this stage, but for those who aren't big fans, let me explain. The background looks very mechanical, with music to fit the mood. If you want to get to Quickman, you have to be, well, quick. This is a good test of your reflexes, and can also pose as a bit of a challenge. You have to be pretty skilled to dodge all of the lasers and get all the collectibles. If you can manage to beat the stage, you fight Quickman himself. This fight is among one of the most challenging in the game. Quickman is incredibly fast and has an unpredictable pattern. He can fire his quick boomerangs, which work as normal boomerangs do. You throw them and they come back to you. Quickman is so fast that it actually hurts him when he doesn't move, so the time stopper can help a lot for this fight. After beating Quickman, you receive the quick boomerangs. While they are outclassed by the metal blades, they are a good alternative, and even hold the weakness of many of the bosses. So, although challenging, Quickman isn't bad. He's actually really cool. His design is good, his stage is tough, The fight is fun, and although his weapon isn't as good as others, it is pretty fun to use at times. Quickman is a really cool robot master.
Oh, and remember, lasers.
Remember when Pluto got demoted to a dwarf planet? Yeah, Star Droid Pluto must have been infuriated. Out of all the Star Droids in Mega Man 5 on Game Boy, this guy is by far the most badass. Just looking at this guy should be enough to tell you that he's not to be messed with. I mean, those tough-looking claws and that stance just scream, "Come at me, bro!" His stage is one of the game's trickier areas, featuring platforms that fall whether you're on them or below them. Isn't that classic? There are also shielded enemies that require a punch to the face to make them vulnerable, rockets on wheels, hammerheads, and flying cannons that drop shockwaves, don't ask, not to mention a pathetic mini-boss. As for the fight with Pluto, it can get very frantic, very fast. His pattern is to fire 2 energy waves, then he'll dash at you and up the walls, up to the corner, and fire a series of shots that actually home in on you slightly. His speed and power can catch you off guard if you're not careful. The reward you get from him is the Break Dash. It's basically a charged tackle that allows you to break through enemies and certain blocks. Not a bad weapon, but there are better. Even still, for his badass design, intense fight, and his cool stage, Pluto manages to earn a place among my favorite of the Star Droids. And all you furries out there better be careful, or else he'll fuck your shit up. But Sheepman sucks, Adam! Shut up! No, he doesn't! Sheepman's awesome! I swear you guys rip on this guy because of his design. And play your 2s and your 3s! But in all honesty, I've seen even worse designs. And while I could go into my own guide to helping the nostalgically blind, I'll just talk about Sheepman. To be honest, for some reason, I like Sheepman's design. He seems to remind me of something... that's why. As for its stage, it's very creative. It takes place inside a cyberspace-like environment, featuring pointer icons for enemies, platforms powered by conveyors, colored lines of blocks that disappear after you stand on them, and a light bulb octopus for a mini-boss. As for the fight, Sheepman's tactics shift between offense, shooting arcing electric shots, and defense, where he uses his wool to create static clouds that rain down thunder. The last one that goes off is where he is, so be wary of that. Now, the big reason I like Sheepman is because of the cultural reference. Sheepman is most likely based on the sci-fi novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Wow, Capcom, you sure are clever. My one legitimate complaint about Sheepman? His weapon is so awkward that it's borderline useless. The Thunderwool creates a cloud that doesn't do damage unless it rises to the ceiling. If it were actually good, he'd be a lot higher. Even still, if you have a problem with Sheepman just because of his design, then my guess is that you have a problem with Mareep, Flapfy, and Ampharos. And if that's the case, I know someone who has a problem with you. Mega Man 6's Robot Masters are representatives of various countries, with styles that would either get Gaijin Goomba's attention or make him cringe. We've already covered Japan and Greece, and at number 25, we have the United States representative, Tomahawk Man. This guy is awesome, even if he is historically inaccurate. I really don't think old American Indians looked like this, and they certainly didn't have a fucking axe for a hand. That's not to say that it's not a cool design, because it certainly is. Now for his stage. They decided to go with a Wild West mine theme here, with cowboy gunslingers being the first enemies you face. The best part of the stage, however, is the area with the sunset in the background, which looks gorgeous, especially by NES standards. Proto Man even makes an appearance in this level. And I just love the music. And the fight itself is solid as well. He has 2 basic attacks. He'll either fire his Tomahawk, which is known to extinguish a candle from 100 feet away, and fire feathers from his headdress, which I swear are made of steel. The Silver Tomahawk is probably my favorite weapon in the whole game. It's very powerful and has an upward arc which can take out higher enemies. With this in your arsenal, taking down the Wily Machine is easy as hell. Bottom line, Tomahawk Man is one Robot Master that Mega Man 6 can be thankful for.
First off,
First off, let me give you, in a nutshell, every single gamer's reaction to this boss. Alright, here we go. Wait, what? A female robot master? Dun, dun, dun. Being the only female robot master in the series, Splash Woman is, needless to say, pretty unique. On top of that, she's a mermaid. Mermaids are cool. Being a mermaid, her stage is, naturally, a water level. Also, it has the spikes. Two of the most common annoyances in games for the price of one. Yeah! Along with that, you get to ride bubbles. Fucking bubbles! No. Joking aside, the water physics in this stage aren't as bad as they generally come. The spikes aren't placed in places that are guaranteed to kill you for the first time, and the bubbles, while annoying well, they're just annoying, but they're a small part of the whole stage. It's overall a decent stage with just one kind of tiny little thing that kind of irks me, the goddamn moving platform! Sorry. Anyway, the fight with Splash Woman herself is actually pretty fun. She can summon fish to swim at you with their siren-esque singing, and rain down bolts of electricity on you with her trident. It's a fun fight, relying purely on your avoidance skills and some decent timing if you're going buster only. The weapon she gives you, the laser trident, is freaking awesome. It can blast through just about everything and does a good deal of damage to boot. In short, decent stage, good fight, freaking amazing weapon, and the unique design gives Splash Woman a thumbs up from me.
You know how people on the internet have these things called flame shields? Well, we can trace the origins of this wondrous device back to 1987 in the original Mega Man, and to its creator, Fireman. Modeled after a torch and originally created for waste disposal, Fireman is the original hothead of the Mega Man franchise. And herpity-derp, his stage has lava and fire everywhere. Bolts of fire, flaming heads, what I'm guessing is burning garbage, and columns of fire that can be frozen by the ice slasher. How does that even work? As for Fireman himself, his fight is one of the most intense in the original Mega Man. The waves of fire he shoots can be tough to dodge as it is, but they also leave behind a fireball on the ground that you have to dodge as well. This is a fight of attrition as you try to bring him down before he burns you to a crisp. Beating him gets you the Firestorm, which not only shoots a fireball, but creates a shield of fire to damage enemies that get close. So useful! Another thing I should mention is his appearance in the remake, Mega Man Powered Up. In this remake, each Robot Master got a chibi redesign and a unique personality. And they gave Fireman a personality like a cowboy sheriff.
Fire! The flame of justice burns strong! My flame of justice will have its revenge on you! Nothing escapes my flames of burning justice! As long as my justice burns bright, evil will never prevail!
Best sheriff ever! To finish off this segment, I'll share some advice for you. You don't fuck with Fireman! Okay, I could start this off with a Gurren Lagann reference, but since I've never watched said anime, Drillman! Drillman was originally designed by Dr. Cossack for tunneling and construction, and he has drills on his head and arms for this purpose. Until Wily converted him into an instrument of death. So why do I like him more than I like Groundman, who has 8 drills on his body? Well, I'll get to that. First, his stage. It's a mine, filled with Meteors, Ladybug bots, batons, and this may be overanalyzing things, but I like how the spikes look like drills. In the later part of the stage, there are chutes that drop rocks, and switches that create more flooring. First separate, and then together. See? This is another example of how to introduce players to obstacles. Drillman's fight is rather simple. He'll either walk around and attack you with his drill bombs, or burrow underground in an attempt to hit you from below. I like this fight better than the one with Groundman, however, because there's no ridiculous hit stun from the weakness weapon. The drill bomb is also a cooler weapon than the spread drill in my opinion. Its detonation can blast through thick concrete. I can't stress this enough. Drills with bombs are more effective than drills that do not have bombs. Why can't people figure this out? Again, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Nowadays, the reputation of vampires has been slandered by sparkling fairies. Well, we can still thank Konami for the Castlevania series. And while we're at it, we can thank Capcom and Mega Man 7 for Shade Man. Now this is a vampire that I can agree with. His vampire design is clearly inspired by the Hammer horror flicks rather than Castlevania. Still, it's a cool design. And his stage? Well, let's just say they ran away with the horror theme here. I mean, the castle is filled with robo-zombies, possessed helmets, bats, werewolves, and even...
What? Pumpkin? Pumpkin what? What? Pumpkin what?
On top of that, there's a hidden area where you can fight Proto Man one-on-one, as well as the scene where Base's dastardly plan is set in motion. Not only that, but there's an awesome Easter egg here, an alternate music track which is actually the Ghosts and Goblins theme. As far as the fight itself, it requires some good sliding skills. Shade Man will spend most of the fight in the air, swooping down in an attempt to grab you and drain your health. When he comes down, he'll either attack you with sound waves or a petrifying beam. Once you beat him, you'll get the Noise Crush, which fires a powerful sound wave. You can actually absorb it on the rebound to charge it up. Now that's cool. Overall, with his cool design, awesome stage, and sweet weapon, Shade Man manages to do what a vampire should do. Be threatening and actually put up a fight! Foiled again, Twilight. To start off Part 4, we have a robot which combines fun, style, and a little bit of childlike whimsy. No, not you, Clown Man, you suck! Let's get Magic Man in here. Oh my god, I just love this robot style. I mean, just look at this guy and tell me he doesn't look the part of a magician. As for his stage, it incorporates the elements from the Carnival stage from Mega Man 8. So yeah, Clown Man did it first, but Magic Man did it right. I mean, there's trains, wind-up pirates, toy soldiers, rotating blocks, and even a mini-boss that... Wait, that looks... familiar. Oh yeah. The fight with Magic Man even plays out like a magic show. He deals out cards that steal your health, shoots energy balls from his cane, and throws balls that release homing doves. Maybe this is where Harvey Moisevich Volodarsky from No More Heroes got the idea. Anyway, after this fun fight, you get the Magic card, which can shoot through walls and even grab items. Everything about Magic Man puts a smile on my face, and that's why he earns a spot in the top 20.
Professor, allow me to deal with this. Elecman?
Now, it may come as a shock to you to only see Elecman at number 19 on this list, but there's no denying that he's a great Robot Master. Now, you all know about his striking design, and I don't really think I need to say anything about it. Of course, we also all know his stage, classic vertical scrolling with disappearing blocks, electric bolts, continuously spawning enemies, and the awesomely useful Magnet Beam! Yay! And then there's the challenge of fighting Elecman himself. His Thunder Beam takes up a lot of room and can be tricky to jump over unless you use the terrain to your advantage, or get him locked into a pattern. Speaking of the Thunder Beam, it's known for being one of the most devastating weapons in the original game, and for being able to fire in 3 directions at once. Hell yeah, I say! I also have to give him credit for his personality and powered up. As strong as he is, they made him a bit of a narcissist.
My battles are blindingly beautiful, aren't they? Even if you were to call lightning from the sky with your thunderous voice, you will never pierce my gorgeous heart. Freezing, numbness, what beauty. It pains me to have to end this beauty.
That's funny. To sum it all up, Elecman is one high-voltage boss who has a lot going for him. Definitely worthy of a spot on this list.
You know, maybe it's because I've recently acquired an appreciation for all things diamond related, but nonetheless, I love the Robot Master Jewel Man.
But isn't he a ruby?
Shut up, Fujoshi. Let's go into further detail, shall we? First off, this stage is stunning. The name of the game is aesthetically pleasing because the patterns of gems and the decadent color scheme really are a treat for the eyes. And, in addition to the pleasing design, My first time playing this level was actually a fun challenge because of the enemy assortment. Some were easy, but the rest were... Spiders? Spiders? Spiders! And the layout is really reminiscent to some of the early on Zelda dungeons, especially with the swinging puzzle a few minutes in and a mini-boss. What madness is this? After traversing your way through more of this beautiful, frustrating stage, you finally walk down a solitary hallway and then you meet the master of fabulousness himself, Jewel Man. At first glance, Jewel Man's fight pattern isn't much. He charges right at you. However, the diamonds that he has rotating around him create a reflective barrier that it will be your job to figure out how to get through. And the awesome soundtrack just continues on. I mean, listen to it. It just shows how glamorous, how fabulous. Jewel Man really is. And once you manage to defeat him, you too shall gain the ability to be fabulous. With the super sparkly Jewel Satellite. Just think of all the manly man points you'll gain by using this thing.
Hey look! Another mythological robot master!
Hey look, who cares?
Go home, Hades. Just go home. Oh boy, is this guy awesome. Tengu Man is the second robot master to appear in both Mega Man 8 and in Mega Man in Base, and he happens to be my favorite in both games. Being a fan of mythology, I'm glad Capcom went with a Tengu to base a robot master on. They just look friggin' cool. As far as the stages, let's look at Mega Man in Base first. Starting off with an auto-scrolling section with some fragile balloons, you come to an area with a branching path. They eventually lead to the same area, with typhoons and cracked pipes that spout out wind. However, I like his stage in Mega Man 8 better. The scrolling sections aren't forced scrolling, it's just wind that pushes you along. And there's also sections with bubbles and spikes, and even a 2D shooter section on the Rush Jet, where you take on a battleship. The fights are similar between the games. He'll spend most of the fight in the air, pausing to shoot the tornado hold, or dive at you. He does have one exclusive attack in each version though. In 8, he'll attack you with a ball of wind that can trap you, and in Mega Man in Base, he'll slash at you with his fan. Now for his weapons. While the Tengu Blade is cool and all, I prefer the Tornado Hold, because it can help you reach higher ground. Kind of like... Another thing I find interesting is that he has 3 different themes. I prefer the theme from the Saturn version of Mega Man in 8 the most, but that's me. Overall, Tengu Man is one badass beast that is not to be messed with.
Are you worthy of my challenge?
Hey! What just happened?
Yes, that is the leader of the Star Droids, Terra, and he just pwned Mega Man with a single shot. This dude is responsible for setting the events of Mega Man 5 on Game Boy into motion. I mean, he drops in from out of nowhere and Mega Man's most powerful shot doesn't do jack shit to him. Doesn't this remind you of something? You see, this is why we got the Mega Arm. You actually encounter him again after the first wave of Star Droids and we're ready to psych! He sends out Dark Moon to kill you. Put simply, it's another devil-type boss. You don't actually fight Terra until after the second group, and he is pissed. So now it's payback time. His attack pattern is simple. He has 2 types of projectiles, a tracking laser and a shot that paralyzes you. Not bad, but one gripe I have is that his weakness couldn't be more obvious if, well, you get the idea. At least you get an epic weapon from beating him, the Spark Chaser, which can deliver up to 3 hits and tracks enemies. That is just plain sweet, and definitely worthy of this alien invader who has Raditz' hair. No, seriously, Just dye it black, give him a scouter, and he's basically Raditz. Seriously, Capcom, is this what you were going for?
Imagine this. It's a nice sunny day in Winnett. You're sitting there, enjoying the breeze, and suddenly, a big scary robot comes and shoots you with his laser. I'm fine, but I do wonder, what was the robot that hit me? Well, let's go do some research. I think I figured out what happened. This giant robot is what humans from the real world call a robot master. They appear in the strange universe of the Mega Man series. This one, Robot Master, seems to come from Mega Man 5 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Gravity Man. That was the name of this thing that attacked me. From what I remember, the Robot Master had a red color with a strange cone-like design around its head. And now that I think about it, despite the fact that this robot nearly killed me, the design is unique, and this color palette is awesome because it has red. What's this? During my research, I found that one has defeated Gravity Man. This creature's name is Rockman? Strange name, but it seems he defeated Gravity Man using a weapon known in that universe as the Star Crash. Maybe, if I find this weapon, I can defeat Gravity Man. But I'll save that for later. From what I can tell, Gravity Man isn't without his defenses. He has a weapon that temporarily reverses gravity, and according to this book on Robot Masters, I have to fight his minions and traverse through a stage known as Gravity Man's Stage. His creativity is stunning. But I hear in this area, one music track plays constantly. There's a CD in this book. Let's pop it into the CD player. Wow, for a guy so violent, he sure has some jammin' music. And amazing. A handwritten note from Rockman himself describing the battle with Gravity Man. Dear reader, thank you for doing research on Gravity Man. Even though he was defeated, there is a possibility that Wily may bring him back. During my quarrel with Gravity Man, he flipped gravity up and down. Though, with the help of the Star Crash, I was able to beat him in seconds. And even when I fought him again, he went down very easily with the Mega Buster. Thank you for doing your research, Rockman. Interesting note. Overall, from my research, I can tell that Gravity Man was quite the unique robot master. His gravity manipulation was a unique power. His design, while strange, was still awesome. And though he may go down easily, he was still a robot master not to be messed with. And, what's this? A picture of him from the Mega Man manga. He looks stupid. Hey, I found one bad thing about Gravity Man.
Well everyone, it's finally time. I'm going to talk about my personal favorite Robot Master of all time from my favorite Mega Man game of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Slash Man. After all your long waiting and perseverance, I'm going to talk about Slash Man. Okay, I know not many of you actually cared, but let's just roll with it. There are a number of things that make this Robot Master stick out from the rest. First of all, his design. I mean, really, just look at him. He looks like a Super Saiyan Wolverine with a lumberjack's beard. As a robot. Second, his level is debatably the best in the game. His level is a robotic dinosaur nature preserve, complete with riding dinosaurs over spike pits, a freaking chase scene with a T-Rex, and the satisfaction of setting a forest alight. Oh, and the music in this level? Awesome! Now onto the battle with Slash Man. Even with his weapon weakness, the Freeze Cracker, this fight will be challenging.
His strategy is to hide off screen and toss eggs from the ceiling, which, if hit directly, will render your weapon useless and impair your movement. He then proceeds to dive bomb you, which is hard to dodge even if you've dodged the eggs. And the final thing that makes Slashman one of the best is his weapon, the Slash Claw. You may be thinking, Speed, how in the whole name of Tim Tams is a short-range weapon going to help you in a game where you jump and shoot? Well, in most situations this weapon isn't very useful, but think of it this way. Your attack is to literally bitch slap your opponents. Do I even need to back up my argument any further?
Started talking shit, wouldn't you know? I reached back like a pimp and I slapped the hoe.
At lucky number 13 on this list is the leader of the Genesis unit, Buster Rod G. This guy is just really cool. He's named after Sun Wukong, otherwise called Son Goku, though he has more of a resemblance to San than Goku from DBZ. His stage takes place in the jungle, borrowing many elements from Snake Man's stage, such as the cloud platforms and the giant snake for a mini-boss. There are also some enemies from other various stages in the first 3 games that can throw you off, as well as some tricky platforming. As for the fight, most of his strategy comes from the staff he carries. Not only will he attack you with it, but he'll also block your shots with it and attack you with his after images. However, he's the only member of the Genesis unit that you actually fight twice. Now before you say Orochi from Okami, however, the second fight, which takes place in Wily's Tower 3, is completely different. This time, he's pelting you with energy shots while the very floor you're standing on is crumbling beneath your feet. Now this is how you do a rematch. Kind of ironic though. These bosses were designed after characters from Journey to the West, but the game never actually made the Journey to the West except through that stupid Sega channel. Oh well, I still think Buster Rod G is awesome. Back in my earlier years, I was a member of a boys' choir in my old hometown of Green Bay. One trip our touring group took was to England. We saw the Tower Bridge, the Tower of London, the Yellow Submarine. It was great! But enough childhood memories. It's time for England's representative in Mega Man 6, Nightman. According to his bio, he is said to have defeated over 1,000 opponents in battle. With a style like his, it's easy to see why. His stage is set in a medieval castle, filled with traps like spiked ceilings, conveyor belts, scholar-like enemies, and these springs that bounce you all over the place. I mean, what kind of capital of science is this anyway? Fighting him can be annoying since he has a shield which can block your attacks, unless you have the Yamato Spear. You can hit him from behind, but if you'd rather take the path of honor, your best chance is when he throws his mace at you, thus leaving him open to attack. Once you bring him down, you earn the Night Crush, which is a mace ball attached to a chain which the NES was apparently unable to render. It's powerful in spite of its short range. One interesting tidbit is that this Robot Master was one of 2 that won a Robot Master design contest in Nintendo Power. The other one was Windman. Wow, I wish I had that kind of artistic talent in robot design. Anyways, Nightman is powerful, honorable, and my favorite Robot Master in Mega Man 6. Holy shit, man! Tornado Man is freaking awesome! This dude is one of the most popular Robot Masters in Mega Man 9, and it's not very hard to understand why. First, let's look at his stage. It's another sky stage, but it's very well designed. There are these magnetic spinning platforms that make this look like Paper Mega Man, hot air balloons and umbrellas for enemies, an ice section, and an area with rain and wind that affect your movement. In short, this stage is like a weather forecast come to life. And I just love the music in this stage. When you fight Tornado Man, you need to be careful. He'll make tornadoes rise from the ground which not only hurt you, but cause you to jump higher, which is especially dangerous because there are spikes on the ceiling. Not only that, he can float up and dive bomb you, but the reward is well worth it. The tornado blow creates a storm of cyclones that blow enemies off the screen, and it can even raise platforms and help you jump. As for his design, I just love it. It reminds me a bit of Harpuya from the Zero series, which makes sense because it was also developed by Inti Creates. Even with all this going for him, however, Tornado Man barely missed out on the top 10. So, who surpassed him? Well, find out next time in the grand finale of this monster list. What better way to start off the top 10 than with my favorite Robot Master in Mega Man 10, Blade Man. For all the problems I hear people had with Mega Man 10, I really didn't find any of them with Blade Man. Before he was infected with Roboenza, he was a tour guide in an old castle owned by a sword fanatic, which is the reason for him having swords for arms and a head. Going through the castle, which is so not ripping off Nightman's stage, you'll encounter mobile axes, cannons, seesaw platforms, and a mini-boss that's a castle. Don't say it! Do not say it! And then there's the fight with him. This fight can get pretty hectic unless you know his pattern. He'll sometimes swipe at you on the ground, but his main attack happens when he jumps to the wall or ceiling and throws his triple blade. And when you factor in his design, oh boy, 6 blades! 6 freaking blades!
What? How many blades? Nick, don't interrupt. Okay.
Speaking of the triple blade, it's probably the most useful weapon in the game. Think of a spread shot with knives, and it changes direction whether you're in the air or on the ground. When it comes down to it, really, Blade Man is definitely a Robot Master to be feared and respected.
Here we have, in my opinion, the best Robot Master in Mega Man 3. Magnet Man. Magnet Man is a Robot Master in Mega Man 3 that, as you could guess by his name, has magnetic powers. So he's essentially the Phantom Virus's worst nightmare. Now you're probably wondering, what's so great about this guy? I mean, look at his design. It's so plain, boring. Well, yeah, he has a simple design, but it gets the job done, and I can look past it to see everything else that's great about it, including his stage. In his stage, there are flying magnets that will lift you up in the air, a battle with Proto Man, these cannon things that will shoot homing missiles at you, and some block puzzles.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Hey, could you let me finish what I was about to say?
No!
Excuse me for a second. Now, where was I? Oh right, the block puzzles. Like I was saying, there are block puzzles in the stage, but you don't have to worry because they are nowhere near as frustrating as the other block puzzles in the series. I'm looking at you, Heat Man. No! Fuck! After getting through his stage, you finally get to fight Magnet Man. He'll jump around a bit and either shoot his magnet missiles at you, which will home in on you from the air, or use his magnetic powers to try and pull you towards him and deflect any attacks that you try to throw at him. This is a very, very fun fight, because of how frantic it is. You don't get much time to attack him, so you have to use what little time you have to deal as much damage as you can. Also, because his attacks are very fast, you have to constantly switch between dodging and attacking, making this a very difficult battle. After beating him, you get the Magnet Missile, which lets you shoot magnets that will home in on your enemies. This is a very useful weapon, because it lets you hit enemies outside of your reach. Overall, Magnet Man has everything you'd want in a Robot Master. A good design, great stage, very fun fight, and incredibly useful weapon, because it lets you kill those goddamn birds!
How dare you say that to me? You know my mother was a bird.
Oh, sorry, Jacques, I forgot. Wait. What are you staring at me for? No, Jacques, what are you doing? Please, no, don't do this! I said I'm sorry, please, no! Ah!
Making the cut at number 8 is my favorite boss from the original, Cutman. This guy is significant for being the first Robot Master that most people faced. You see, stage select was kind of a new thing at the time, so I'm pretty sure that many people just pressed start on the first thing that was highlighted, which was Cutman. Dr. Light initially designed him as a logging robot, and the ceramic titanium shears on his head can cut down huge trees in one snip. As for his stage, you start by climbing up the side of a warehouse, taking on enemies like Bunby Helis, Blasters, Kamadomas, Supercutters, and Suzies, after which you descend into the complex and deal with some Mambus and a Big Eye, after which you face Cutman himself. It's not a hard fight, but it's fun jumping over his blade and striking back. Yes, those blocks are for the super arm, but do you really need it? His rolling cutter is a great weapon as well. It's like a precursor to the metal blade, only not completely broken. And his personality and powered up is kind of like mine when I was a child. Kind-hearted yet naive, and opposed to fighting.
But you were so kind before, Mr. Gutsman. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here. You don't plan to chuck that bomb at me, do you, Mr. Bomb Man? Mr. Elect Man, listen to me.
Not only that, but he appears as a bonus battle in the Saturn version of Mega Man 8, and even in Mega Man X8 if you have data from Command Mission. In the end, Cutman is well deserving of his fame, and the number 8 spot.
Napalm Man is an interesting robot master. This robot master is filled with so many explosions, he can be Michael Bay's walking dynamite storage unit. He was created by Wily to protect a secret weapons factory, where he spends time collecting and searching weapons that are as strong or even stronger than his own. So yeah, he's a weapons enthusiast, which can be provided with further proof in his design. He has weapons all over his body with a jet turbine on his head and treadmills for feet. So he's a tank. That's purple. And has arms and legs. And anything else that tanks don't have. Hell, he even built his own weapons museum, which eventually got blown up. His stage in Mega Man 5 is interesting to say the least. It starts off in a jungle with tigers, then goes underground for what seems to be a military complex, then goes to an area with waterfalls going to platforms, then to a dense field, then underground again. For someone like Napalm Man, shouldn't all this healthy environment be, I don't know, blown up? Well, I have a theory. It's rumored that this stage is based off Vietnam. Considering the tiger robots in the jungle setting and the fact that napalm, which is a flammable liquid, was used in the Vietnam War, this is most likely intentional. As for the fight with him, though constantly attacking with head missiles and napalm bombs, his signature weapon, and jumping all over the place, is very easy. The weapon he gives you is the recently mentioned napalm bomb, which is pretty much a grenade. Oh well, at least you won't get turned on if he gets hit by it, Grenade Man! Ya silly little pervert, you! While very hostile, Napalm Man is an awesome robot master with many explosives and an interesting stage. Well, I'm off. Be sure to polish your robots and don't let Napalm Man be in the Michael Bay movie. It will suck horribly. See ya.
Hey Dio, are the flame shields ready?
そして時は動き出す。
Good, cause we're gonna need them. Oh, I can feel all you Metal Man fanboys out there fuming with rage because he's only at number 6. But before you come at me with your torches and pitchforks, let me state my case as to why Metal Man is a bit overrated despite being one of my favorites. First, the positive. This guy looks really intimidating. As Dr. Wily's first original Robot Master, Dr. Light described him as the dentist of the future. He's got an awesome stage as well, featuring conveyor belts, crushers, clowns on gears, and this hallway with screws, which is ideal for farming. The fight is actually great as well. The conveyor belt is in motion and can change direction at a moment's notice while Metal Man is throwing his blades at you, making for a good challenge. Now for the thing everyone knows him for, the Metal Blade. This thing fires in all directions, uses next to no ammo, and pwns just about everything. Which is actually the reason he missed out on the top 5. Allow me to sum it up as follows. Think of the Spark ability, Meta Knight, and the Gen 1 Psychic types. Those things are balanced compared to how utterly broken the Metal Blade is. This thing can take out so many enemies, it isn't even funny. So why the fuck are the other weapons even there? Hell, 4 bosses can be taken down by these things, including Metal Man himself in the rematch, which is already nerfed by the fact that the conveyor belt was removed. Sorry, Metal Man. You may be my favorite Robot Master in Mega Man 2, but you just can't get any higher. Especially when you get overshadowed by your own weapon.
Oh, Mega Man 3, how I love you. The level design was great, the controls were spot on, and the soundtrack is amazing. And it also introduced one of the best Robot Masters in the series, freaking Shadow Man. I already talked about this guy in my personal Robot Masters list, but since I know some of you haven't seen that list yet, I am going to talk about him again, why not? Shadow Man was an unknown, deactivated robot that was discovered by Dr. Wily, who remodeled and reprogrammed it. Since his metal body does not match any material found on Earth, this makes Shadow Man the first Robot Master with an alien origin. That's pretty cool. And what's even cooler is his design. It pretty much speaks for itself. Just by looking at his face, you know he means business. His stage in Mega Man 3 is one of my favorites in the game. The placement of the obstacles in this level makes it feel like it was designed to be beaten with ninja reflexes. Speaking of needing good reflexes, the fight against Shadow Man himself tests those to the limit. In Mega Man 3, Shadow Man will jump, throw Shadow Blades at you, and slide to where you are. Dodging his attacks is very tricky to do, but it makes for a great challenge. In other games, Shadow Man would use ninjutsu tricks such as substitution, cloning, and even summon a giant frog. After you beat Shadow Man, you're rewarded with a Shadow Blade, which also happens to be my favorite weapon in the game. Can aim in 5 directions, it causes good damage, and it has a large amount of ammo. Some of you may think this is a downgrade from the Metal Blade, but I personally didn't like how broken it was. I preferred it this way. Shadow Man is my favorite Robot Master in Mega Man 3. His level was great, his design is kick-ass, his battle is very satisfying, and his weapon is very strong. And if that doesn't convince you, let me remind you that he's a freaking ninja! And ninjas are awesome.
Hey Jugga, have I given enough praise to Mega Man 9 yet?
No!
Okay then, here's one more for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Galaxy Man. I mean, what's not to love about this guy? He's designed after a UFO, and his highly advanced computer brain allows him to instantly calculate the trajectory of rockets. His stage, a laboratory built in space, is also my favorite stage of the game to play through. I mean, there's mini UFOs, Poochie Devils, teleporters that warp you all over the place, and these enemies that can drop down on you and drag you along. You can fake them out, but if you're caught, you'll have to time your jumps so you don't get gored on the spikes. Then there's Galaxy Man himself. While it is admittedly an easy fight, it's still a lot of fun. He has 2 basic patterns of attack. For one attack, he'll just charge at you, and for the other, he'll jump into the air and hover before firing a strange homing projectile. This projectile creates a black hole, and Galaxy Man will teleport under it as it sucks you toward him. The best thing about Galaxy Man, however, is the weapon he gives you, the Black Hole Bomb. This thing creates a vortex that sucks in enemies and projectiles and can be moved up and down prior to detonation. Now I'm sure some of you may be wondering how Mega Man isn't affected. I say, why bother asking? It's helping you, so take it and be grateful. When it comes down to it, there's just so much that's great about Galaxy Man that it's hard not to love him. That's why I always go after him first. Without a doubt, my favorite Robot Master in Mega Man 9. At number 3 is not only my favorite Robot Master from Mega Man 4, and in fact from the NES games as a whole, but also the most underrated in my opinion. That's right, it's Pharaoh Man, baby! To be honest, I'm surprised that this robot doesn't get more credit. Seriously, he's designed after an ancient Egyptian ruler and has over 1,000 Mamiro robots under his command. He was originally created to explore the depths of pyramids, and of course, his stage reflects his theme perfectly. It starts out with quicksand, flies, and robo-scorpions, and soon you descend into the tomb where you encounter batons, mummies that attack you with their freaking heads, and these strange robots which carry you over the spikes. Of course, you can also get the balloon adapter in this level by jumping over the first pit. This will come in handy quite a bit throughout the game. And the music fits this theme perfectly, especially the Complete Works version. Then there's Pharaoh Man himself. He can be one of the game's more challenging bosses. Sure, if you have the flash stopper, he's a piece of cake, but not with the Buster. He'll jump around the room throwing his fireballs at you, and when he comes to a stop, he'll start charging up a powerful wave attack. This fight can be hectic, but it's still great all the same. And the weapon you get is an awesome reward. The Pharaoh shot can be charged up to create a giant fireball which can do major damage. Of course, one reason that I love Pharaoh Man so much is because of my interest in ancient Egyptian culture. And yes, my interest in Yu-Gi-Oh! May have had something to do with it. In all seriousness, though, Pharaoh Man definitely deserves a lot more praise than he gets. And anyone who says otherwise is getting a Pharaoh punch to the face! Oh yeah, I said it! A boss from the Game Boy beat out every single NES Robot Master. At number 2, we have the last and best of the Mega Man killers. From Mega Man 4 on Game Boy, it's Ballade. Or Ballada, or however you want to pronounce it. The point is, he's incredibly awesome. He looks like Quickman except with more powerful armor. You first fight him after beating the first 4 Robot Masters, taking on a satellite dish, and blasting through some missiles. He'll jump around the room, charge at you, and throw explosives. And once you beat the second wave, collect the Wily plates, and negotiate some magnets, you'll face him again, only this time, he's upped the ante. This time, he'll lay down an explosive when he starts his pattern, and both the explosives and the explosions are bigger. And like the other 2 Mega Man killers, he returns in Mega Man 10's Time Attack mode. His special stage features enemies popping out of pits, conveyor belts, and they even brought back the missiles. And the theme, Farewell to Ballade, is my favorite of the 3 remixes. As for his weapon, the Ballade Cracker is amazing. It's an efficient explosive that can be fired in multiple directions. It's like an explosive metal blade that isn't overpowered! Now that is awesome! So yeah, Ballade has all the ingredients that make a Robot Master great. But here's the kicker. The biggest reason that Ballade is this high has nothing to do with any of this. What puts Ballade at number 2 is his emotional impact. You ask what I'm talking about? Let me tell you. As Wily's greatest creation prior to Base, Ballade was extremely vain and arrogant, believing no one could contest him. But after losing twice to Mega Man, he realizes his own weakness. Then, in the ending of the game, as Mega Man escapes the exploding Wily station, his way is blocked by a seemingly impenetrable barrier. All seems lost when out of nowhere, Ballade appears, and makes the ultimate sacrifice to help Mega Man escape. Let me repeat that for you. A robot created to destroy Mega Man sacrificed his life to save him. To me, that is proof that even a character that is the creation of evil is never beyond redemption. I didn't think much of it back then, but looking at it now, I realize how important this was. Prior to the arrival of Zero in the X series, I had never encountered such a character in a Mega Man game. And that is saying something. The best characters are the ones you remember for the right reasons. And Ballade is one Robot Master I will never forget. However, the list isn't over just yet. Okay, it's almost time to reveal my favorite Robot Master of all time. But before that, since you've probably forgotten at least a few entries on this list, I'm gonna do the crazy and recap this monster. Number 50, Snake Man. Number 49, Turbo Man. Number 48, Grenade Man. Number 47, Crystal Man. Number 46, Anchor. Number 45, Yamato Man. Number 44, Skull Man. Number 43, Mega Water S. Number 42, Mercury. Number 41, Crash Man. Number 40, Gyro Man. Number 39, Ground Man. Number 38, Gutsman. Number 37, Hyperstorm H. Number 36, Gemini Man. Number 35, Centaur Man. Number 34, Saturn. Number 33, Pirate Man. Number 32, Nitro Man. Number 31, Punk. Number 30, Astro Man. Number 29, Hornet Man. Number 28, Quick Man. Number 27, Pluto. Number 26, Sheet Man. Number 25, Tomahawk Man. Number 24, Splash Woman. Number 23, Fireman. Number 22, Drill Man. Number 21, Shade Man. Number 20, Magic Man. Number 19, Elec Man. Number 18, Jewel Man. Number 17, Tengu Man. Number 16, Terra. Number 15, Gravity Man. Number 14, Slash Man. Number 13, Buster Rod G. Number 12, Nightman. Number 11, Tornado Man. Number 10, Blade Man. Number 9, Magnet Man. Number 8, Cut Man. Number 7, Napalm Man. Number 6, Metal Man. Number 5, Shadow Man. Number 4, Galaxy Man. Number 3, Pharaoh Man. And number 2, Blade. Shadow Man had a great design. Galaxy Man had a great level. Pharaoh Man had a great fight. Blade had emotional impact. For a Robot Master to be number 1 on this massive list, it needs to combine all 4 of these qualities. And I found one that does. A robot so powerful it was sealed away for countless years. With an arsenal so varied, the fight takes place over multiple phases. A robot so badass, he even upstages Wily himself.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Look, I'm trying to build some tension here, okay?
Get on with it.
Alright already, God!
My number 1 Robot Master of all time is... Sunstar. Okay, right now a lot of you may be thinking, what the hell? Well, that's good, because Sunstar is hands down my favorite Robot Master ever. In the 25 years that Mega Man's been around, I feel that no single robot has embodied what the series is about more than this Titan of Destruction from Mega Man 5 on Game Boy. Allow me to explain what I mean. First, let's look at his design. And man, oh man, does he look awesome. The various symbols on his body make him look like a sun deity. In fact, his Japanese name is Sun God. Think Pharaoh Man, but on weapons-grade steroids. That is so awesome! Then there's the lead-up to him. Once Terra is defeated, you learn that, huge plot twist and massive sarcasm quotes, Wily is once again behind everything. And you approach Wily's totally not a Death Star ripoff in a side-scrolling shooter stage that features asteroids, jetpacking heads, and giant lasers as you take out Wily's defenses R-Type style. Then there's the interior of the Wily Star. The obstacles and enemies here run the gamut, including falling platforms, spikes, Mets with cannons, robot birds, rising pistons, branching paths, and shafts with moving platforms and spikes. Not only that, but you get to face all 3 of the Mega Man killers again. Also Quint, but he sucks, so moving on. Eventually you face the Star Droids once again, minus Terra, after which Proto Man refills your weapons and life, and then it's time to face Wily. Again. First phase is a giant fist, shoot the eyes when it comes down. Second phase, same thing, except it has missiles and can pluck you from the ground. Next phase, you're dealing with missiles, gravity warpers, and bombs that you need to push into Wily's machine. Phase 4, you have to contend with shockwaves and a lowered ceiling covered with spikes that aren't insta-kill. Finally, when you've cornered Wily, he reveals his ultimate weapon, Sunstar, whom he orders to kill you. But then... yeah, he just attacked Wily. Awesome. Except Sunstar still wants you dead. Okay, take it, Travis.
It's game time.
The fight begins, and it is one of the greatest battles in any Mega Man game, with some of the best music I've ever heard on Game Boy. There are 3 phases to this fight, and each one will keep you on your toes. During the first phase of the fight, he'll blast you with his giant ancient Egyptian laser beam of death and destruction balls, and fire shockwaves along the ground that shoot up when you jump over them with the space gravity of the chamber. Once a third of his health is gone, he'll destroy the floor beneath your feet, and Phase 2 begins. Now, he'll launch a series of energy waves at you, followed by a series of bouncing spark bolts before he hops to the other side. Once he has a third of his energy left, he'll destroy the floor again, thus beginning the final phase. This time, he'll charge up into a buzzsaw and rush you, and prepare to attack with a powerful rain flush which you will want to interrupt. And on top of all this, he has no weakness to any of your weapons. Every attack does 1 damage to him, including a charged Mega Arm shot. This makes the fight even more challenging. And when it's over, Sunstar is left with a single HP, and Mega Man does something awesome. He has mercy on the defeated Sunstar, and offers to take him to be repaired by Dr. Light. Sunstar is confused until Mega Man tells him why he fights. However, it's too late for Sunstar, as he reveals to Mega Man that his fusion reactor is about to melt down and tells Mega Man to escape. And as Mega Man and Rush flee, Sunstar explodes, taking the Wily Star with it. And when I saw that explosion, I felt that I had gained something more valuable than any weapon. I gained a true feeling of satisfaction. And that is why Sunstar is number 1, my favorite Robot Master ever. Because he embodies how I feel about the series. Think about it. At the beginning of the game, Mega Man couldn't even scratch Terra. And by this point, he's not only beaten Terra, but defeated the robot equivalent of a god. That's a true sign of having gotten stronger as a fighter for Mega Man, and as a gamer for myself. And that's why I hold the Mega Man series as one of, if not my favorite franchise in video games. The way the games are made, completing a game in the series makes me feel like I've gotten better as a gamer. The way many levels are designed, the way many boss battles play out, the challenges that I overcome in bringing down Dr. Wily, it all contributes to a feeling of growth and accomplishment for me, regardless of how formulaic it all is. That's a feeling that few other franchises give me, and that's why I'll always hold this series close to my heart. I'm the QuartrGuy, and as far as I'm concerned, the legacy of Mega Man will endure for as long as gaming exists. Fight, Mega Man, for everlasting peace.